I almost forgot I wanted to wear a different shirt in today's podcast that doesn't have distracting font, but might have distracting chest hair. I always forget that about this shirt, and sometimes I don't know. I don't know. I need to do some laundry. Honestly, even though I thought I had a lot of shirts, I think I need to wash some shirts. Some shirts. I don't think they need to be washed. Ugh. But it's all good. It's just and I'll do a little bit of an intro, I guess, for those that tune in after. Though most of me would rather wait until somebody's here now to whew, to get chatting. I guess I can say the parts or the stuff. Just a moment. I had something. Oh, there it is. I guess I could say the part that it doesn't matter. I mean, it's still only a few seconds into this video, so people that see it afterwards will hear this. But that it doesn't hugely matter if anybody, hears this during. It's just kind of something to say for the intro because, yes, this is, very much about, what the viewers, pretty much what the viewers want to talk about and hear musically as well. But what else to say in the intro? Is I don't know. It's a pretty blue sky, nice day. A little bit chilly out, I think, but it is starting to get chillier out. In a lot of places that in the autumn solstice or the equinox, as you might want to call it, or and as winter slowly approaches, uh, and I slept pretty well last night, and I've had some coffee, made a good cup of coffee this morning, and part of me would like to still be sleeping, but last night was a great reminder of people do need each other. They do need someone they can open up to, and someone that they can reach out to and chat with, and it can be a very reciprocal thing, and that's great for all involved. Um, so yeah, I didn't really want to be distracted on another social media and such. Um, and I have some time, so I figured I would come and live stream before lunch. I can't remember. I think I was rolling for about 15 minutes before Jonathan tuned in the other day, but he is at work, so I don't imagine that he is going to be, but I guess it depends on how busy one's job is if they're tuning in at work, right? But yeah, welcome to this virtual drop-in center, a place of kindness and love. And they laughed. The first laugh, they're like, oh, screw that. They didn't say that, but maybe like, yeah, I really should be focusing while I'm at work. There was something I was going to talk about this morning. I think I've decided not to. And then there was also somebody posted somewhere online a poem, and I had thought about reading it a little bit. And I actually just found it quite quickly, even though it was a bit of scrolling. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth talking about. What I'm thinking is maybe I'll mention it if something that somebody says makes me think to. in the meantime, I guess what I'll say, since there's nobody here yet, only 4 minutes in, is that for those that are seeing this afterwards, uh, after it's live streamed and is posted, um, I welcome you to settle in. You know, to get a beverage. If that beverage is beer and you've had two or three in the day, I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I might suggest that you might want to, you know, slow down because maybe alcohol is a problem for you, you know? And also, I don't think I really want to be talking with, although it can be amusing sometimes, with somebody that's, three beers deep or whatever. Um, but you know, otherwise, your coffee, your water, your juice, whatever, um, you know, in a comfy, sitting or laying down in a comfy way. And I don't know what else to suggest as far as to kind of um, settle into this. But one of the reasons I'm also saying it is I'm trying to kind of get myself, you know, just in, I don't like to have the radio playing when I'm doing these because because although it is unlikely, YouTube wouldn't want that. And as far as mentioning that this also has possibility of being musical, lately I've been struggling with that, and I'm not sure why. I mean, there's so much music out there, um, and so in some ways it shouldn't be hard to think of ideas, but I think it just, for me anyway, it seems to be a blur, and I struggle. I mean, to I was listening to a little bit earlier today, but it was not really the style I play. Not that I'm not diverse, but like I don't play a lot of rap. I don't hate it, but I don't play a lot of rap. I don't like metal, blues and jazz, fusion, sure, hard rock, sure, country pop, oldies, all that stuff, yes. And the person left with, they're like, you said all the guns I just, you like all the guns I like and dislike, and we're opposite. I don't know. Maybe the phone died, or they had to. But it's interesting because I am very musically diverse. But it's interesting when I think about the stuff that I don't like, and sometimes with certain songs, even in the genres I do like, sometimes it's like not feeling that today or at this point in my life. But I'm pretty diverse. Like if somebody suggested 5 songs, especially, and I mean what's popular to some might not be to others, but especially stuff that's been popular in music for a while, I'm likely to know at least a two of them, maybe three, and be open to probably doing it, two. So yeah, so I mean there is, but it's not as well. And not that I'm hugely stressed or anything, but I am taking some deep breaths, and it's a reminder of how that is very helpful as well. Whether you're stressed or just wanting to relax, just taking it easy. It's like even though I'm not outside, you know, I found myself taking these deep cleansing breaths, and they really can kind of bring you to an equilibrium, bring you a sense of, you could say healing, or at least, calmness. Um, yeah, last night was great in the sense that although the person that was commenting was struggling, uh, it wasn't expected, but so good. The person left that was here. Oh, was struggling, um, opened up, and was really brave. And I'll just say that I do feel like it seemed like it helped. And it came back and watched another one later, which ended up being 40 minutes. It was going to be just a song, but there was about 10 or 15 minutes of distraction, about 10 or 15 minutes of chat, and then I think I did 2 or 3 songs. So that person enjoyed both of those and subscribed and liked and chatted, has connected on another platform as well, which I'm not always open to, but it felt right. He felt comfortable with it, and I hope it continues to. I hope we make sure that we make it continue. Um, you know, he felt comfortable about that. Wanted a second option, and yeah, yeah. I think, like I say, he came in about 50 minutes in. I mean, we've had 2 or 3 flashes at the top, but whether it was personal or something came up in their environment, or they had to charge their device or whatever. I mean, they didn't stay long enough to know whether they would like this. Didn't even give a thumbs up in support. But like you can't tell, especially if you're a first timer on someone's video. You honestly can't tell in 15 seconds. You can think you can, but you really can't. So again, I'm really appreciative of. There was a couple people, and one came back, and the second one was there. Came back and said, "What happened to the cover?" I said, "You missed it because you left for 15 minutes." I did it pretty quick after he said sup or whatever, but or they said hi. So, but yeah, basically, yeah, and that was an example actually of somebody left, but they didn't really. It wasn't anything personal. So yeah, really happy with how that went, and hopefully made some helpful suggestions for the person. And now I'd like to do so for you if there's something you're struggling with, or just play a song request. I feel that you're meant to be here watching this today. And as soon as I say that, oh, I either came back or somebody else is here. Yeah, and I feel, like I say, that you're meant to be here and watching this, and that we're maybe meant to chat and get to know each other a little bit. So I don't know what else to say until the chat begins. Um, and yeah, I don't know what songs to do either. So until some suggestions. Just because I looked to my side, they were there for like 2 or 3 minutes. 2 minutes, maybe. Perhaps I should have thought of a theme or a topic, but that's one thing that I did say the other day. And I think it's obvious, but I'll say it anyway, just in case it's not, you know, in the person over there. But, and I'm not trying to say that uh, what someone's going through is not important, but, just letting you know that, like, you're probably not the only one going through it. And so, yeah. So, put a few short comments in the chat you can look at. Otherwise, I've done a 14-minute intro, and I'm just gonna watch the chat, and we'll go from there. I don't know what else to say. Maybe I should have thought of some things, but because it is kind of what. But last night was a bit of a rarity in that sense. Well, I mean, it's not like it's always the case, but it was a bit of a extra special night on here. And Taranum's saying it greatly. Sometimes all you need is music and some people to vibe with. And it's true, isn't it? Is it black? Loves the hair color. It's like black. It's not that unusual. And even one or two people can make it worth it. Such as last night and lots of other times, actually. I did just also have another idea. Whoops. I should do it more often, actually. It shows last night's, but oh, we got a like. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Curious, if you've been to the channel before, how you came across it, if not, and yeah, glad to have you here. Like I say, this one is very, viewer led, for the most part, or at least, for this next part, and then maybe I'll be off and running with the topic or a bunch of music. There is a song I thought about doing. But there is a song I thought about doing. Huh, there we go. But I don't know. I worry about it being a little bit misinterpreted. Um, I don't quite relate to it. I guess it's true. I don't have to fully relate to a song. However, I would say that it does help in singing it. Or it. And some songs aren't about anything particularly deep. In which case, they're just fun vibe. Fun. So. And it's not that this song I'm thinking of is necessarily deep, but is it fun? It's interesting. It's unique. And I discovered it on YouTube not long ago. But I don't know. When I look back at the lyrics, I kind of thought, I don't know if I'd cover that or not. But whether this is a musical, whether this next what comes next into this video is musical, or you want to chat about something going on in your life, um, you know, the good stuff, that's always great to chat about, but also the stuff that you're struggling with. I'm here for you. So I just have to go off screen briefly. Oh, hello. Aloha, amigo. So you're in Bangkok, but you're talking like you're from Hawaii. I was just remembering you from last night, actually. And thanks for the like. Just a moment. I have to. There we are. So yeah, what would we like to talk about or hear musically today? And I don't know why suddenly it looks like it's a little bit okay. All right. Yeah. I love how that sounds, by the way. Aloha, amigo. And there's 2 people watching, and there's me, so we got the 3 amigos. I don't know if amigo is gender neutral or not, but let's say that it is. You could even say the song I was thinking about kind of too, ironically. So, Super Dinky, what is a Jinky, dare I ask? And also, feel free to tell me a little bit about yourself. Oh, yeah, I kind of wish it was here because then I'd be a little bit closer to my later in the week plans. But no, it's only 10 o'clock in the morning here. So yeah, tell me about yourself. How old are you? Um, I'm glad that you must have subscribed because you got notified of this again, of the live stream again. So, what you do for work, if you'd like to, you know, curious if you do work. It looks like it's just you and me at the moment. So, I was gonna say it's you and me, kid, which is a phrase, and watch you be like 60 or 70. It's like you're the kid. Here's looking at you. Yeah, maybe this one. Genki means awesome. Okay, cool. Oh, so you have content. Well, I'll have to check it out then. Some of the people that are on my in my comments, they have a channel, but they have nothing on it. So that's kind of cool. And I've never been to Japan, but it looks like there's a lot of pretty content in videos. So virtually, I will. Because I was telling the other guy that was watching last night that it's not that easy for me to just pick up and travel. So, yeah, and if you'd like to say, your age or your age category and what kind of work you do. And yeah, like I say, this is again kind of similar to last night. If there's anything originally from, oh, girl, cool. That's opposite sides of the world if I know my geography, which sometimes I don't, but 8 years now. Okay. Had been. Okay. Yeah, and I did say last night, so I guess you remember. Or you're guessing. Actually, I think I did say, but before you tuned in, like probably 30 or 40 minutes before you tuned in. So unless you watched it back, you're guessing. And actually, interestingly, I can't remember who it was, but somebody guessed I was in my 20s recently, and I'm not. So I wish I still was. I miss those times in life, but trying to make the most of my age that I am. And yeah, I'm kind of waiting for you to take another guess. But I was going to say I would hope I'm not in my 40s, but I am going to be in a few weeks. So I'm going to enter my 40s. Enter Sandman. I wonder if I should do that song. Mr. Sandman. I don't remember what Mr. Sandman actually means. And yeah, mostly I don't mind being called that at all. So yeah, what else? What else is something stressful going on in your life, or are you just living in complete zen? And have you ever been to Canada? Because you sound like you're very culturally. I was going to say diverse. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Sounds like you've been around a bit. Not just around my age. Never been. Oh, well, hopefully it's on your bucket list. Do you know of any particular places in Canada you might like to check out? And I mention it because I'm in Canada. this is YouTube. I don't really want to say specifically where I am from, but depending on where connection leads us, maybe someday you'll find out. Well, if you don't want to talk about anything that's troubling you, maybe I'll talk about something that I'm stressed out about. What would it be? Well, as I mentioned in the top comment, you know, I'd still love to open a drop-in center. It's not been happening. In fact, I was actually thinking that I might contact. I don't know if I should do it while because then I could give you an update. Hold it, huh? Hold what? Uh, Sorry. Oh, drop-in center. What did you think I said? And that can mean different things, I suppose. But a wellness center, music, support groups. Um, yeah, those would be the main themes. Again, as I mentioned, I'm bad at geography, but is Denmark part of Holland? Pretty sure it's part of the Netherlands. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm like, hold what? Okay, just a moment. Hold the phone. No, just kidding. But yeah, so you know, getting certain things to happen in my life has been a bit slow at times. However, hopefully the audio is improving. Um, oh, you know, and so it may sound silly that I asked that then because I'm Scandinavia, but I don't know. I'm Scandinavia. I'm Scandinavian, but I don't know much about my culture. I mean, it's not. I don't have a lot of living or local family. That is around me celebrating their roots, so to speak, and I haven't known about it actually that long either. I've only a few years ago, and I don't know how else to put it, but yeah, I haven't. We do have a cultural festival that is sometimes some years I get to it. However, the Scandinavia uh, uh, aspect of it is not super close to where I live, and I don't drive. So even being in that city for it, it's still hard to get to that one. Um, but yeah, so it's like kind of like when my dad passed away when I was young, and when I found out, what his background was, it was English, Scandinavian. Um, yeah, even my Scottish roots aren't super deep that I know of, but yeah, but so like I say, this isn't about me necessarily, but if there's no song suggestions or things specifically going on in your life that you feel the need to talk about, then I guess I could talk a bit about mine. Hmm. Well, I'm going to be taking a series of workshops coming up, and I'm looking forward to that. Um, I also going to go to a restaurant I haven't been to in a while, and I'm going to just treat myself a couple times this week. I think to some food out. Got to get to bed here. It's late. Okay, sounds good. Um, Hopefully you had a great day, and I'm interesting to think that it's so early in my day, and I'm kind of wrapping up yours and putting a bow on it, sort of to make that little joke. I would love it if there was somebody else here chatting before you left, but I understand that bedtime routine is an important thing as well, and that if you have an early morning and perhaps sometimes struggle to sleep well, then got to give yourself a little bit of extra time, I guess. So I'm thankful that you have been here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about, or like, I don't know. I personally don't like to talk about my struggles anymore. And to be honest, mostly I'm doing okay. And I figure things out. But yeah, you too. But I mean, truth be told, I mean, so I can understand if someone, you know, maybe they haven't received good help in the past, so they're hesitant, or they fear about being judged. Like that's something that a lot of people worry about. However, I'm here to do my very best to help others, and I believe in my ability to do so. And also, you don't have to worry about judgment. Like I'm slightly surprised last night, and I mean he didn't agree all his comments, and I don't even think they show now that that the video is not that video is not live. The live chat. I don't know if it's a glitch or the way I said it, but basically, like I was kind of surprised to find myself talking to someone who has addiction issues. But you know what? It was also very helpful to be there to support them and or try at least be trying to, and seems like a pretty good connection to have made. So um, I don't want it to be taken wrong when I say that. I guess I just say that I say I don't know. I guess I don't talk to a lot of people that, or knowingly anyway, that are struggling with addictions, and it's not one of my kind of areas of. I hate to use the word expert, but it's not one of my areas that I'm super versed in. And so, but as G said, when we watched it back a little bit, it sounds like you made some good suggestions. Hopefully they help. I was also hoping for a little bit of, oh my gosh, you got such a great heart, and that was really cool that you suggested that. But I know that it was intended, and the person who I was saying it to, possibly, I feel likely felt that. Um, I do. I get hurt, and I have a hard time understanding those that don't, to be honest. But yeah, so what is? But they can get there. They can get there, and I'm sure they have been there in their life. But yeah, so what is something that you're struggling with in your life that maybe you want some feedback about, or if there's just a song you'd like to hear? I put a little blurb along the top. Not a lot of scrolling, but I put a little blurb there about the type of genres that I am more into. And we've had one or two people here, and we have someone here now, thankfully, because the other one had to go to bed. It was late there in Thailand, I think you said he currently lives in. No, Bangkok. um, and yeah, I'm happy to have you here. And I'm curious, and you left. Or at least it looks like you have, but sometimes that's not accurate, I've noticed. But I'm not going to say the other part of my spiel I was just about to say until you're here. I'll say other words instead. In other words. Yeah, curious if you've ever been to the channel before, how you came across it, and what has your day, perhaps you might want to say what your day has looked like, or what you're hoping for in your day today, depending on, that's actually, I should make that its own video. I mean, it could easily come up in a video like this, but I should make that its own topic, one of my videos, because yeah, if I was to answer that question, sorry, I just need to. I'm using a laptop, and I just needed to adjust the pillow behind my back. But if I was to answer that question, well, I'm mostly glad that it's a blue sky and the sun's out. Although it doesn't make it easier to try and get a bit more sleep. And we want to do it too close to my usual time, but I don't really have a whole lot going on today, which is another reason that I'm doing this, to help pass some time. Like that guy last night, even though he probably needed to get some sleep and did work in the morning, um, I think he would have stayed if I kept rolling. Because actually, the first one I did, and I think the second one too, he was still there right until I literally had finished the video. So, just saying, so that's nice. That's nice to see that. But yeah, so passing some time and not too much gas. Just kidding. And yeah, wishing that I could think of songs on the spot these days. I kind of said one reason why I think I struggle with that, but the chords to this song I think are fairly simple, but it's also not loading properly. So if I do any music, it might actually be on this device. But as long as you're trying to be a good person, and and for yourself and for the family and friends that you have in your life, and even random people that you in your day, then I wish you the best. And again, we can all get to that point. I wish you greatness and health and wellness, and tasty meals and nice connections and all the stuff that all of us want, right? Somebody was there for like 2 minutes, and I think they heard tasty meals and good connections. So they're like, oh yeah, I got a hot date, or at least I hope that they are. uh, I almost feel like it doesn't make sense to look back at the comments that I've already gotten from that guy, because I think it's a guy, but I guess I don't know. And it looks like a lot of his videos are like of the place that he lives in. I don't know if he's in, if they're, I don't know why I'm assuming it's a male. I shouldn't, because I think when someone is of a certain gender themselves, or at least primarily feels to be, um, I think that that's the gender that they first think in, and that's just a way that so many people are. I'm not really sure why, but it is. But yeah, I was talking with Dr. Phil the other day. Like, he didn't seem to be, I mean, he's been in it for a while. I can't remember how recent that video was. I mean, how recent it was posted may not be how recent it was filmed, but he totally didn't seem like he was taking a psychological approach to it. Or at least if he was taking a very one-sided one. I would love to see some of Denmark, actually, as well. How old are you, bro? I got it. Good meeting, bro. I gotta get to bed. It's late here. We'll watch you again soon. So, I got two people here. One of our viewers had to go off to bed, but yeah, what is something you'd like to chat about? Something that going a stress that you're going through, or just how has your day been, or what are your hopes for your day, or a song request. And it looks like you left, so but we're 2 likes in, so you know, it's not it's not just about the views and the likes. It's about the interactions as well. I mean, likes are nice, views are nice. Can't get one without the other. But chats are even better. Doing songs that people request to the best of my, you know, if I can, helping someone. That's also very much what it's about. Put a little blurb at one of the top comments, kind of about the genres that I'm more into. I do like fusion though. I can't think of any off the top of my head, fusion groups, bands, but I like them. Like I say, I struggle to think of songs off the top of my head anyway. It's not like there's a shortage, but maybe that's why. There's just so many. I'm a little bit curious, actually. Like there are, classics, and then there are some that, from the past 15, 20, 25 years that that have been pretty popular for a while. But I'm actually kind of curious because I think I'm in the loop. I spend time on YouTube and I don't know. I think I'm in the loop musically, but am I? I don't know. You know, um, like I probably don't know bands that have only been around for 4 or 5 years, but again, I could be wrong. Sometimes my sense of how long someone's been doing music for isn't accurate. Let's do that because there was a part of me that wished they'd been performing on that stage. Um, and then I follow a couple of musicians on here, and one of them does definitely does. She takes requests, and she gets a fair number of them, and they are definitely fairly modern. Like ironic, and in fact, I think I mentioned her name with John Carpenter last night. I think I've heard of Sabrina Carpenter. Definitely Mary Carpenter. But I've heard of this song called Espresso, but I don't know it. That one I won't mention, but I've heard of. It's actually kind of a fun song to sing. Zach Bryan, I have heard of. Skipping back past a bunch that I haven't, though. I've heard of that one, but I don't know any of his songs. And Dua Lipa, I have heard of, but I don't know that song. Casey Musgraves, I've heard of. Miranda Lambert, of course, I've heard of. That's all the trending music in 2024. That can't be right. I think 2025 would be less likely, but 2023. Top hits, best songs. Oh yeah, I definitely heard of that. And the first three are that way. Shakira, I've heard of. Be kind of interesting to maybe cover a Shakira song. I don't know. I only know like one or two, and I'm certainly not Shakira, as you can see. But that might be an idea. I mean, a lot of her stuff is not English, but I'm thinking of oh uh I'm looking for a song. I okay. Sleep on My Side. That's a funny song title. I mean, I've heard of Olivia Rodrigo, but I only know like a couple of her songs and not well. Don't know if I've heard of Calvin Harris. So yes, something you want to talk about that you've been going through that you want some feedback on. Happy to try and help. Song requests, um, how your day is going, or hopes that you have for your day. That weekend song I did recently, not on the weekend, but I did do it recently. To the people that come across this, curious question, music wise, what do you think of Nickelback? Because I just saw a song title, and it's not them, but they do have a song with that title. I'm curious your thoughts on the band Nickelback. I know that they're one of those ones that seem to. I mean, no band is everybody's favorite, but Nickelback seems to get some opinions. Not from the one or two people that would just hear briefly, unless one of them just came back. But I'm just curious. Just curious. Um, I like the song title. What's poppin', Jack Harlow? No, what's poppin'? Popcorn? Just kidding. Yeah. So thoughts on the band Nickelback? Just curious, but also any song request in general. Uh, and yeah, the title, the first couple comments, they really say it all. I'm not going to keep repeating myself every time someone new comes in. Of course, I've heard of Ariana Grande, though. She works at Starbucks. And Selena Gomez. Although it's true, is she the one that Justin Bieber was with? Because I might only know of her because of the fact that they were together. Not that I'm a huge Bieber follower or fan, but he's got some okay stuff. The person seems to have left, so I guess they weren't a believer. I'm a believer. So, just to add a random topic into this, um, I have someone from my youth that kind of sort of keeps coming up, and she is elderly now, and so I'm kind of wondering how she's doing. But I don't know if the first thing how she came up was, I think she was probably the one that I learned about the singer I married from. And as I mentioned, I have someone in my life who ran into her somewhere and talked with her for 20 minutes. Didn't help me get into the biz. But whatever. That's just that person is. But she does care about me. But maybe she wouldn't want me in the biz because she's so, even though not as much as she used to be, she's so closely connected to me, and it's not an easy industry, perhaps. But and then I saw Chocolate Lab, which I hardly ever see those these days, and I grew up. This person that I thought about had it. Some person was saying something random about cows in a chat. I saw her last name, somebody else. I almost thought her granddaughter was in that chat because she's like, she asked me something. I can't remember what it was. And it was like, why does this sound like your grandmother? And she says, yeah, kind of. And then we have somebody with her son's first name living at the end of her street. But somebody with that last name lived at the other end up until not long ago. I feel there's been 2 or 3 other reasons why she keeps coming up. So, just saying. Yeah, there's so many things to choose from to watching on YouTube. Like my one commenter, I want to check out his channel or their channel. And I have another playlist that I built up. But, YouTube always likes to show us stuff too. So, it's... but there's a lot of good stuff, and there are lots of videos that are out there, trying to offer help and support in their own way. So yeah, sometimes they're a little bit more scripted and they go on and on about something, but I could say, what are common things that people go through, because maybe that's what they'd like to hear about. And that's the thing, like I say, no judgment and nothing to be ashamed of, because we all go through very similar things in life at different times in life. Some have harder lives, but for the most part, we do. And maybe, just maybe, although I don't think there's anybody watching at the moment, but maybe I've been through something that you've been through, and or that you're going through. And although what works for me might not work for you, it might. It might. But we'll never know if you don't tell me. I mean, with the other commenter there, I'm wondering then, it's not that I think they dislike me, but he didn't open up. And I'm wondering, was there just nothing to say? Nothing stressing? I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case in someone's life. Because I think there's always something, even if we try and be optimistic people, I think there's always going to be something. And even with the realization that nothing is perfect too, I feel like there's always going to be, something we're working on in our life that we're trying to improve or that we're trying to figure out. It's just a very natural part of being human, right? And it is okay to ask for help, when we're unsure, what the best move would be, to you know I'm just adding a little comment here that perhaps many have not received. We got 3 of you here. Glad to have you here. Have not received great support in the past, so are hesitant to ask for it. It doesn't matter your gender or your age or anything like that. For the most part, we all need support sometimes. So, like I say, try me. Or if there's a song that you'd like to hear, if you want to hear some music. Maybe there's a song you're really relating to in your life right now, whether it's because of something good going on in your life or something that you're struggling with. Suggest it. I'm musical. I can maybe perform it. 3 to 1, but okay. And I'm curious if you've ever been to this channel before, how you came across it, if not. And yeah. And if you want to say where you're watching from in the world, you're welcome to. I'm here in Canada. I'm hoping that one of the ones that just came back is the one that just briefly left, or that was here earlier. But one also stayed. So yes, let's chat. Our other viewer had to go to bed. So who's next? No pressure or anything, but I'm sure it'll be enjoyable. But yeah, I don't have, I've been rolling for a bit now. I don't have anything else to say until other chatters come into things. Just gotta look at. I shouldn't, because okay. It appears as if they all left. It appears, but that's not always accurate. But maybe they're like, just in case he does keep talking, I just want to take a moment, decide what it might be that I want to bring up, and how would I do so. And don't be too hard on yourself for the most part, and what you're sharing and bringing into the chat. Don't, again, no need to worry about judgment or how you're wording things, and if it's too many letters for a comment. Once it reaches the limit, send it through, and then keep writing. And I'd be happy to see what you have to say, what you'd like to say. I mentioned in one of the top comments the genres that I most lean towards. As far as uh, life advice topics, uh, I don't want to say that I would. I'm opposed to giving relationship advice. I don't want to say that. However, and I am. I'm past my exes. I'm in a relationship now, and I guess when I hear about people struggling relationships, it does, not that ours is terrible, but it does make me, worry. But then again, I guess I could say that about anything. Like, you know, somebody that's homeless or worried about becoming homeless. I mean, a lot of us are very close to having that struggle, or are connected to someone that is having that struggle. Um, like I say, there's a lot of struggles that are just very human. Um, but that doesn't mean that we have to go it alone either. We can reach out, and I do feel like you're meant to be here. So, um, in general, but also within this on this video. Um, yeah, I understand if people are having family difficulties. Uh, I guess it also might depend as far as what I'm able to support with, because I have been around, and I, have had, lived experiences as well. And I think I could give good relationship advice if that's what you were needing. But also, some relationship advice is not necessary. It's because, it's not that someone's breaking up or getting a divorce. It's they're wanting to work on their relationship. And that is actually admirable. That's actually probably a good thing. Um, you're trying to figure out some sort of dynamic or something. Um, work struggles, a lot of people have those. uh, maybe some sort of school struggle. Let's talk, because you can't tell me that you don't got struggles. You know, it does actually kind of make me think of a song, but do I want to do it? Well, sometimes I'm very literal with lyrics, and so I think that's saying I don't want to do the song. But I've also done videos in the past where I do speak about some of the things I've learned through life and learned along the way. Um, but could be another way of approaching it. Actually, is what do you feel has been the hardest thing that you've learned in life, and the most valued thing that you've learned in life? Yeah, and I think I definitely answered the first one before, and I probably answered both in past videos. But if I was to say the second one, let me think about it, and maybe you're working on a comment as well. Hmm. The most valued thing that I've learned in life, and that may be not great wording, but um, I before I podcasted today, I came across this poem on Friday, or it's not really a poem, but it's something that somebody posted somewhere online, and I looked at it again a little bit this morning. I had a bit of a distraction, which was anyway. Um, and I think the first part of this I will read. It says, "Love is hard to give," and I disagree. But for those who've already experienced so much pain in life, those people are so afraid to give their hearts away because they might go through another painful moment. But they should be vulnerable. And that looks like you both talked about it. But that could be inaccurate. People have different I mean, in a way, there are different definitions to the word love, kind of, sort of. But most of them aren't bad. I mean, I know there's tough love, and I might think that some of it makes sense, but I would say that most of it doesn't. Most people don't respond well to tough love, I would say, mostly regardless of who it's coming from. Like I don't think it's the best way to yeah. But you have to give others a chance to give you the love that you need, the support that you need. There was one part of this, again, I don't mean to sound anti-religious, but and the one that I sent it through, I was slightly surprised because unless I brought it up, they wouldn't. But it's because I sent it to them, but I'd seen somebody else had written it. Um, I just think that I don't want to say that faith isn't important, and I pretty much do respect other people's faith beliefs, but I would say that you can say essentially the same thing without bringing religion into it. Because, it's great when you can have a religious conversation and it's respectful, but it's going to turn some people off to bring that into it. It doesn't resonate with them. And you could think all you want, well, it should, And that's what my calling is here to do, is to get it to resonate with people. You know what? It will when it's meant to. I don't know. I don't know how. And I would mostly say, and we don't have to get into a debate about this, but that it doesn't have to ever. It does not define a good person. In fact, there are lots of religious people that aren't great people. There are many that are, but and I guess with where I'm at with things in my life, when I see that mention, it's like, okay, I don't really want to read the rest then. Even though sometimes I talk about religion too. But yeah, sometimes it's hard to think of them, especially if you're feeling kind of numb to your struggles, or you just feel like you're beating it into the ground. So, for lack of a different phrase, you're just focusing on it so much and don't really feel like it's helping. I can understand that. Oh, I guess, but that's where I would say that that's where I would say that. Well, then I could do some music. But I do feel a little bit repetitive. Each time somebody different comes in to don't go by the statistics. Some people haven't stayed long enough, I feel, to really make an opinion as to whether this is the type of video that they'd want to watch or that would be helpful to them. Some people may say, how can I say? Because I know the worth of what I'm doing. I know what I'm trying to bring to the table. And I know that some people just seem so quick. They come in here and seconds later they're on their way. And again, it's not always personal, but sometimes it might be. And you know, I guess one thing is that I like to give people a welcome. I like to kind of, especially if I'm kind of feeling a bit slower, I like to kind of let people know what a video is about. And while that requires saying it. And at some point, like if I had 3 or 4 people commenting, you know, I'd feel like I'm trying to keep the momentum going, but I'd also feel like, okay, good enough. I don't need to bring it up again. But I feel like it's still kind of does need to be said, but I just feel like it's kind of bit. But yeah. So, but that could be another way of asking the question: is there anything that you're hoping for in your life, um, that you're working towards in your life? Person left, they're like, nope, nothing. They didn't say that, but you know, sometimes it helps to laugh it off a bit, to be honest. And again, I would say that anybody that says that there's nothing in that regard is not being honest. I can understand if sometimes you just don't want to be hoping anymore, like it just seems pointless. You don't want to be disappointed, such and such. I do get that. But I think it's worthwhile to still kind of try to do that, because if you don't, how much are you enjoying life? Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up because I do want to go upstairs. I do want to do some other stuff. So, bye for now.